How's everybody doing? My name's Mike, and we got Mr. Boogie with us today. He is about 2 years old, and he is, I believe, to be XL American Bully. Now, what you're going to see me start doing on the leash is I'm going to be walking back and forth, letting the dog hit the end of the leash, and then I'm giving a correction at the end of the leash to encourage the dog to follow me. And what we are doing, this is what we do on the first day. The dog's been with me for a couple days already, but the first exercise we do when the dog comes out of the car is this leash pressure exercise where we're teaching the dog to start paying attention to the owner at the end of the leash. So if the dog goes to kind of go the other way, I'm going to back up and go the opposite way of the dog. And when that leash becomes taut, I'm going to give a little correction to encourage the dog to come towards me. When the dog turns towards me, when I back up and the dog turns, or I give a correction and the dog turns and then comes my way, I'm saying good boy, atta boy. Every time they are going away from me, but then make that turn towards me, that's what I want. And I'm encouraging that, marking that behavior, saying good boy, good job. Every time they make a turn, again, you see the dog turning towards me. At first, the dog's going to be getting corrected because they don't know exactly what to do. And as the exercise goes on, they should follow much easier. This is how we get the dog to actually start healing, and how we get them to do multiple different things. We're teaching them to listen to the leash pressure. So now I grab a shake can, which is just a bottle with 10 pennies in it, and now I'm turning that into the heel. So what I'm doing is I'm just holding the leash a little bit shorter, giving him pressure if he rushes, and I'm using that shake can to stop him from moving forward. So what happens is you can see now that turn I was making with the whole leash out still benefits us. See how I turn, and the dog has an idea of, oh, okay, this is kind of like what we just did. You want me to turn with you. You want me to come towards you. So the dog starts understanding that I'm marking this behavior of come towards me, come to me. When we first get these dogs, most of the time they are just kind of sniffing around, pulling, and not paying attention to the owner at all. We need to tell them in a way they trust, understand, and respect. And through that correction is how we gain compliance of the dog. The dog trusts that leash correction enough that they're willing to follow, and it's willing to get them to listen because it's motivating. All right, so here we are starting to introduce the dog to place. This is the first time this dog has seen this place bed, and the first thing I'm doing is just walking the dog around in a circle, just getting him used to that object being there. And then you're going to see me kind of lead him on and let him off once he's on there for a few seconds, and then I'll put him on for a much longer duration. He really didn't have a hard time with it. And again, this is leash pressure is what you're seeing work here. So that first exercise we did with the dog is something that carries all the way through training and the rest of their life, where leash pressure is a way of communicating with the dog what we want. So you see me try to give affection to the dog because he's doing good. He's doing something we call punching people with his mouth. So if you put your hands near his mouth, he like just runs his muzzle into your mouth. That's a habit we want to start getting them out of, and the way we do that is with the leash, the shake can, and what we're trying to do with the dog here by teaching them the leash pressure, teaching them how to heel, and then teaching them about the place bed is where we have to start somewhere with the dog, where the dog's coming to me in a very anxious state. They're very excited. There's not there's pretty much, it seems like a fog to me. The dog's just so excited that there's never a moment of calmness. Doing these exercises, showing the dog the place bed, is going to create calmness. If we can get the dog's body to stop moving so much, and again, it's muscle memory right now with the dog, if we can get that body to relax more, the mind will start also relaxing. So we get the body to do it, and then the mind will follow. So the dog may be a little excited right now, but eventually, after doing the place bed, this command, for long periods of time, the dog's mind will actually become calm, and the dog will actually become a much calmer dog. Now, this is without having a place bed, there's no structure in the home. You know, this is the one piece of furniture they get to have, and they get to own it as theirs. And this just creates some structure, asking the dog to lay on a bed and not just bolt off of it. So the dog's actually working and being challenged in a way that they are not used to, and is very good and healthy for the dog's mind. So the last thing we want to start working on with this dog, to start creating the picture for the first few days of training for this dog, is we want to start practicing the sit command. Now, most people will say the dog knows how to sit. The truth is, it's very rare to have a dog that hasn't been worked with that knows how to sit and not move its butt. And again, right here we're using leash pressure with the dog. If the dog doesn't sit, I'm adding a little leash pressure, so I'm tightening the collar, and then when the dog sits, I loosen that collar. In this video, the dog's actually doing really good, and he's already starting to get the muscle memory of sit just from the few days I've worked with him. So you're not really going to see much correcting happening at this moment, which is a good thing for the dog. We want the dog to be compliant and not have to go through a bunch of corrections. It makes it easier on them and on us. So that is definitely a positive thing. And again, what I want everybody to take from this video is kind of get a bird's eye view of what's happening in training for the first few days. The dog is going through leash pressure exercises. That is the biggest thing to first start off with, is leash pressure. We have to start somewhere so that it makes sense for the dog. So that is leash pressure. Then we start turning that into a heel. Then we're working with the place bed. And then we're also working on the dog's sit. We wouldn't want to go and work on something like the down right away, or sit durations, like making the dog sit for 5 minutes. We wouldn't want to do that yet. He's not at that point. We want to start them off with baby steps and make it so that it makes sense for them. And it's not too challenging, but it's challenging enough that, you know, it's hard for them to do, but they can also succeed at it. We want to set them up for success.